Hi guys, how's everybody doing? Let's go for a tour of my distillery. Let's see, here is my still, Anna Nicole, and she got an upgrade. These copper sight glass flutes, and you can kind of see in there they have bubber plates inside of each one of those. And let me step back so you can get the full column there. It's a 3-inch column with a defibrillator and a shotgun condenser, and there's the cooling unit. It's all filled up with ice, and I run it with a PID controller. And right now I'm just warming it up. The way I do that, I warm it up to 150, and I'll start producing a little of the heads at that point, and that slowly heats the column up, and then I'll jump it up to 160 and then 170, and each of those temperatures I hit for about 20 minutes to a half hour, and then finally I'll start collecting alcohol at 173. And this does it automatically. For anybody that's not familiar with that, it reads through this thermal coupling that I've drilled in up here, and it adjusts the amount of power that's going into the heating element down here, and that keeps the temperature current. It kind of pulses, and it adjusts percentage of power as well to control the temperature. I think I'm going to try, because the PID is the last letter. D stands for derivative, which means it thinks and it adjusts on its own, or it doesn't think. It does what it's programmed to do, right? It doesn't think, it does its thing. But I think I'm going to try it without the derivative and just use it as a thermostat, basically, and see how that works. See if there's any difference, or if it works better or more efficiently, or just different, I guess. I got these sight glass flutes from oakstills.com, and let's see, I really like them so far. They're, let's see, again here you can see it. Maybe I can zoom in on it. There we go. It's kind of hard to see with them. See the silver up there? That's the flanges are stainless. There, you might be able to see a little better there. So it's stainless welded to copper. So that's kind of neat. You don't have to worry about it being as soft as metal and deforming anything with your clamps. I think you can kind of see it on the bottom there. There we go. And then in this section here, I have just bare copper wire that I bought, and I wadded up and stuck that in there. So I have then I have this cap I made, so I have copper all throughout the process. It runs through copper to start with. The flutes are copper, and it has copper bubber plates. So all processes as it comes up, and then it's going to be condensed down into a liquid form again. Then it runs through copper even more. So putting lots of copper in there to absorb the sulfates in the whiskey, and I think it makes a difference, because you can really tell how dirty the copper is after a run, and the smell. So I guess one could argue maybe it's the whiskey reacting with the copper that's making it like that, but most people seem to think that that's taking that out of the whiskey, so you get a better end product. And I used to have just all sight glasses with the copper plates, rubber plates, and they were like inside of this, not at the bottom like it is now. and which worked really great, but I had to completely take apart the sight glasses to clean in between each run, and it was a real pain. Where these just clamp in on top of the flutes, so it'll be a lot less maintenance. And the only thing that I did not like about them was these flutes are made to have bubbler plates ran with them. But see, here's a seal. You can kind of see that lip inside of there. When I put that bubbler plate inside of there, it was sitting on or underneath that seal, and the plates wouldn't, or the flutes wouldn't go together right with the clamp. So I had to take a razor blade and trim. Let's see if I can get a side view of it. You can kind of see there's a bead, I guess you would call it. That's an imprint of what's on top of one of those plates. Like, it looks like this. And the seal sits in there like that. So the copper bubbler plate was sitting on here, so it was bigger than what the clamp was made. They wouldn't nestle together right and seal. So I had to trim that off in order to make it work, which wasn't that big a deal, but for what these guys charge for this stuff, you think they would make it so it was work-wise, so you could just clamp it together and not have to mess with it, or at least give you instructions or send you the seals that were made for the right thing. Just, that was my only gripe, very minor. And then here in a little while, when it's all running whiskey, I'll come back and show you what it looks like. And I put this one sight glass in it for a couple reasons. One, just because it's cool. You can see the reflex coming down and everything. And also, I can use this to put in kind of like a gin basket. I can put a screen in the bottom of that. And we was just talking about making an apple brandy run and putting some vanilla beans and maybe some chunks of apple and some cinnamon sticks in there, and let that run through into the brandy. And then maybe sticking some of that brandy in a wood barrel and aging it for a year and see how that turns out. Sounds pretty yummy, huh? And here's the cooling unit. It just has a cheapo fountain pump in it. Is why it's sitting up so high, because it won't pump it uphill very far. And I use PEX tubing with these are just air quick connect fittings that I've clamped onto it, and that works pretty good. There is some drawbacks with it. These kind of get rusty inside of here, so you have to keep oiling them or they'll end up not working. And probably when they start giving me too much trouble, I'm going to have to go with like something that was a marine grade or something that would take being more wet, because they're made for air. They're not made to be used with water the way I use them, but they work okay. And let's see, got a thermostat there, or a thermometer, I'm sorry, and another thermometer down here, so I can monitor the mash temperature as well as the or it's actually the head of the tank, because that's the steam down here. We're only filled up to say it like right about in there, and then we can monitor the steam temperature up here as well. Even though this does all the work, it's nice to have those, and you know when each process is getting ready to start as it's going through stuff, when the different things are coming off, like the ethanol and acetones, and then the methanol, acetones, and then the ethanol. And let's tour around a little more. Let's see, we have some stuff here. Here's a rice whiskey that was recently made, and that one is a vanilla bourbon. See the vanilla beans at the bottom? It's been sitting there for about 2 weeks, and I'll give it a little taste. It's probably not ready, but we'll try it out. And that one is a bourbon. And here's all my batches. See, the batch 1 is corn. We're on generation 6. Batch 2 is rice, generation 6. Batch 3 is trimix, which is corn, rye, and oats, generation 4. Batch number 4 is a rice malt. Batch number 5 is a corn rye, and that's a toasted corn rye. We toasted the corn just in a skillet and before we mashed it, and that turned out pretty well. And see, there's a little bit of tri-mix whiskey in the bottom of that jug. That's the toasted corn in that jug. And here's all there's each one of those is the same. There's a 10 gallons, so 5 gallons of each. And the 5, see, like up here it says 5, that's a corn rye. And then each one is labeled with a key so I don't get them mixed up. And then just got parts, different things. Let's see, I'll have more catch jars going here in a little while for cuts and stuff. A little stainless funnel to help out when needed. This is a coon pecker. Let's see, a friend of mine, he has a YouTube channel, Roadhog. Him and his wife, they show us, they put a video on every day of hanging out at their farm and doing neat stuff, and they just hang out and talk a little bit. And anyway, he sent me that. That's kind of a traditional thing that would have been used years ago to direct your flow, and so it kind of adds a little tradition to my more modern still. And these are PEX tubing, cold water in at the bottom, hot water out at the top, obviously. I guess it's not obvious for people that don't know how a still works, but that's how you do it. And that way your cold water is rising up through the whole thing. Here's the valves that controls the flow of the water. The pump just has a T on it inside to direct the water each way. Then on this side, see the bottom plug, that's the heating element. It's plugged into the still, or it's in the still and plugged into here. And this switch controls that. See? Now that's no longer working. Now it's back on. And then this controls the pump. And the way I keep them separate in my head is I put the switch on. This is the plug side going into the still. So, and then this one is closest to the pump, so that's just how I did it. I built a box and wired up the PID controller with all the components, so I got to design it the way I like it. It has a couple of fans in there and some air holes so it breathes well, keeps nice and cool, and it doesn't get warm at all, so it works really well. Let's see, so now you can see we got cold water going through the condenser. It's all working good. No drips, so we're not leaking. And I'll just turn it off, and that cold water that's in here now, that'll take me all the way up until it starts producing whiskey. It doesn't take a whole lot of cold water, and then I can just let it run at a slow flow. I'll close the valve down. See, this is all the way on. It'll be, see, that's all the way off. That much will be enough to cool the whiskey the entire run. Let's see. We got just some things that we need: a Sharpie, a few little tools, you know, different parts. There's some pH strips. What's in there? Oh, that's another coon dick, a spare one. Coon pecker. Just little odds and ends, stuff that you use around your distillery, a knife, some fitting or some hose clamps. I got some, this goes on the thermometers. Let's see, I work construction, so I always hit up the plumbers. They have boxes of this stuff, and they give me a roll when I ask them for it. And I haven't bought that stuff for years. Let's see, here's a little cool flask. It's My Shine. That's the brand of My Shine. It's My Shine. And then when you have it, it's your shine, so it's My Shine again, right? And just some basic tools and stuff you might need. Fire extinguisher. That's kind of important just in case. Safety first, right? Some spare parts. There's a pump that I got that I plan on using, but haven't implemented it yet. And anyway, there's a quick little tour of my distillery and a review of Oak Steel's 3-inch copper fluted column parts. And I guess for now I will shut her down and we'll come back once I'm running some whiskey. Let's do a little taste test. I want to try out that vanilla bourbon and see how it's coming along. I can do that. Okay, I gave the vanilla a little shake. So, but we obviously, you can see the floaties, the vanilla seeds and stuff in there. We filter that before we drink it, but we'll just give it a little taste. It's not going to hurt anything. I'm going to set it down for just a second. Okay, there's what it looks like. Just a light amber color. Obviously the vanilla seeds. And let's give it a... I can definitely smell the vanilla and the bourbon mixed together. And let's taste it. Ooh, that's tasting really good. It's 100 proof, so you can tell it's 100 proof. It's got a nice warm going down. It doesn't have any alcohol bite to speak of, though, like the harsh taste, I guess you would say. It's very mellow on that end. I get bourbon in the beginning. It's a sweet, a little bit of woody flavor, just a touch, not like way overpowering or anything, but it's there. And when I breathe out, a very nice vanilla finish. And I'm picking up on the smell. Maybe I want to say cherry-ish. Not like almost like a candy cherry, I would say, like a cherry Jolly Rancher, just a hint of that. And I use a lightly toasted French oak for the bourbon. Actually, my girlfriend does that. She makes all the flavors. I just make the whiskey. She's the real genius behind everything. Man, that is just tasting super yummy. I wish y'all could taste this. This is very, very nice. And so I'm gonna stop this for now, and we'll come back a little later with when the still's running. So I wanted to show off a few more things. Here's we make our own vanilla. This is an old one. It's a year and a half, 2 years old. It's about gone. You can see how dark it is. We just pour whiskey in it and let it sit. And here's one that's 2, maybe 3 months old, and it's going to take another 3 months before it's ready. But as you can see, what these vanilla beans cost is about the price of one little tiny jar of vanilla at the store, and this is way more vanilla flavor than any of those, and it just keeps getting better over time. So we have 3 different quarts of this going now, since we use a lot to flavor different infusions or whiskeys or whatever. And we use it for baking and cooking and stuff as well. It works well. And here is it's all all the particles in there because I moved it. It was all clear, but this is a peanut butter shine. You can kind of see the peanuts in the bottom, and the peanut butter is in there. This is just about done. It's taking a while. This is the biggest batch we made. Usually we just make a quart at a time. But I'm going to send a jar of this to Peachy Rider, and she's going to review it for y'all on her channel. So that'll be fun. It's almost ready, Peachy. And this one's a pretty good process. It takes a while to infuse. We put the peanuts in, let that soak for a couple of weeks, and then we put peanut butter in it, and that soaks for, this one's about 3 weeks already. But it's taking a while for whatever. I think because we're making such a big volume this time. But it's just about ready. A little bit of brown sugar, and then to make it ready to drink, you gotta freeze it because you can see the fat in there from the peanut butter, and you gotta filter it several times, freeze it. That solidifies the oils. Scoop the oils off, and you gotta do that 2 or 3 times and keep filtering it. It's a pretty good little process to make it, but it tastes so yummy when it's done. And let's see, that'll be it for now. Well, here's a few more flavors. Here is a Fireball that we have, and it's 100 proof. Here is a strawberry whiskey. That one is 100 proof. And this is pink grapefruit whiskey, and that's also 100 proof. So we make lots of different flavors. It's fun to play around with and try different things. The mango is really good. If you put mango and put a little tahini on your glass rim, it's really yummy. What else? Blueberry vanilla. I'm trying to think. We got just tons of different ones. People come up with different things that they want to have infused in their moonshine for it, and my girlfriend enjoys the challenge of making it taste good. And to describe it, like, she doesn't like the alcohol bite, so she blends that out of it. She likes it to taste like what it should be. So this tastes like strawberries, and she puts a little bit of sugar in there, and when you drink it down, you can tell you've drank alcohol. It's got a warm feeling going down, but it doesn't have it's not harsh at all. And it tastes like strawberries, not like a strawberry liqueur where it's, I think a lot of liqueurs are kind of yucky tasting, to be honest. They're good in mixers and stuff, but not just to drink straight. But in the pink grapefruit, it's got a definite pink grapefruit flavor, and if you serve it with ice, it's really good. Or you can mix it with there's a grapefruit soda that Whole Foods sells. It's in a little pop top jar. Those are pretty nice. They're only a couple bucks, and it tastes really good mixed with that. Makes a nice spritzer, or mix it with Sprite or something. And anyway, let's see. That's really gonna be it for a while till I come back when the still's running. Okay, we're back again. Show you what's going on inside the column. It's got a decent reflux going. You see all that stuff running down the sight glass. Refluxing going inside of you can see inside the plates. That way you can't see inside it so well, but you can kind of see it down inside there. Same thing on that one there. And you can see all the stuff dripping back down into the pot to be reheated and sent back up the column in a little time later. I think I'll get one more bubble plate and put it inside this one, then I'll have 5 plates. And let's see, I have my PID set for 174.6. I'm doing something a little different. Usually I set it for right at the temperature I need it, but now I'm setting it for a little bit higher than what I need, and I'm using the reflux. So I have this thing turned on. See, I can touch it. It should be, like up here it's pretty damn hot, but it's a lot warmer up here. So I'm controlling the temperature as the steam goes through the little pipes inside of this. There's 5 little 3/8 pipes in here. And or actually I think they're 1/2 inch pipes. to be honest with you. I can't remember. But so as the steam goes up, all the cold water around it cools that, but not a lot, just enough to get it to the right temperature in here to this temperature. And you can see it's kind of jumping around. And here's my drip. That's a good steady drip, what we want. See, it's kind of going from a little stream to a drip to a stream. See, now it's running pretty fast. Now it'll slow down to a drip. And let's see, so far I've collected 200 milliliters of 4 shots. That's the yucky stuff that we don't want. And I have about a pint of heads. This stuff, this one here, I can definitely smell the acetone in there. It has a real sweet, it smells good actually, but it's not something that you want to drink. And here's a little more. Now, it has a little bit of a funky smell, but we're not. So we're still in the heads a little bit. Taste that. Seems like we still got a little bit of acetone on there, so I think it's kind of hard to do this one-handed. I'm gonna make another cut here. Probably do one more little cut, and then I'll start collecting hearts. So there we go. There's Anna running, and I make several cuts. So I'll make. See, this cut was even smaller, and then we'll try the next one, and then when we get into hearts, I'll fill the jars up about halfway, and then when I get towards the tails, I'll start making smaller cuts as well. And then I let them sit out all night. I throw a towel over it so no flies might get in there or something. And then I taste everything and smell it and see if it's good enough to make the cut. And what goes in, we'll end up with about a gallon of probably high 180s or maybe even 190 proof. And then I proof that down to 100, and then it's drinkable. And then we flavor it and do whatever with it. So that's the distillation process, and hope y'all have enjoyed it and maybe learned something. And anyone who would like to get into the hobby or craft, whatever you want to call it, feel free to message me. My email's in my about, and I'll be happy to get you started or help you if you are just getting started with tricks. I don't mind sharing recipes and the stuff that I know. That's how we learn, is by passing things around. So with that, I'm gonna sign out. Lots of love, everyone, and please like and subscribe if you haven't already. Bye. Well, I know I said the video was over, but I should show you the proofing process for those of you who haven't seen it. That's kind of cool. So I'm into my hearts, and I've already poured some in there, some whiskey. It's a proofing hydrometer. It's just a weighted glass cylinder, or kind of like a thermometer you stick in your mouth, it looks like, but a big one, and a glass tube, and it's got markings on it for different proofs, and there's a weight in the bottom so it floats at a specific amount of alcohol. There, we got enough in there to test it, and let's see what we got. We are at like 184. Oh, wait a minute, I was looking at the wrong side. That was a percentage. It's hard to get this thing to focus on that. We are at a little bit above 190. Let's see, there's 190. And we're sinking down a little below that. So we're at like 192, maybe 194. And that's the proof that we have for this run. That should stay pretty consistent until it gets towards the very end. And something else I didn't show you, I'll show you real quick. This jug right here, that one's sugar wash. It's just sugar, this sugar and water that's been fermented. We use it for like rubbing alcohol, and my girlfriend uses it for to make like lavender smells and for lotions and stuff and body butter. We don't use it to drink, but this is the faints. So like these two jugs and maybe this one. Probably I'll save some of this one, but not a lot. Just a little bit will go in there to help flavor the whiskey. But these will go in there, and at the end, the tails, those aren't very good either. So I'll throw those in there, and those are all the different batches I've made over the year. Actually, not the year, just the last few months. And then when I get to like 5 gallons of those, I'll put them in the still and water them down, because you can't run that high a proof in it, but I'll water it down to like 40 proof and 20%, and run it again, and then it'll have all those essences of all the different runs throughout it, the good alcohol in that. So basically waste not, want not, and then I call it a special blend run, which the last one I did came out really well, so kind of looking forward to that. Just something neat you can do. So with that, I am really out. Hope everyone has a good weekend. Bye.